this. Now, the medicines that I'm going to be using is, there's 4 sacred medicines, and they go with all the directions, the 4 directions. Okay, and we have tobacco. Okay, there is sweet grass. Okay, that's the second one. Sage is the third one. And does anyone know what the 4th one is?
Cedar bark?
Cedar, the green parts off the cedar tree, yeah. So we burn all of those together. And the idea of the ceremony is that what you're doing is, I'll come around and I'll wave, I have my eagle feather here as well, okay? That's how I get the smoke going. And what you want to do is, the idea is the smoke is supposed to cleanse your mind, okay? It's supposed to make you be able to speak with a good voice. And that means we're going to be talking about maybe some sensitive issues, so we want to have a good voice when we're speaking about them. Does that make sense? Okay? And it also it cleanses your heart and your spirit out as well. So if you have any negativity or you're upset about something, this is supposed to make you feel better, and it cleans all those things out. Okay? So it's meant to make you feel good and get that negativity out so that we can speak and think clearly with our hearts as well, right? So does it make sense? Okay. So the idea is, some people will go and breathe it in, but you don't have to do that. Okay. Normally, what I'll do is I'll come around with the bowl, right, and there'll be smoke. And what you do is the smoke will come at you, and you grab the smoke, right? A lot of people go like this and put it in their hair because that represents your mind, right? You can grab the smoke and touch it to your forehead like that. Okay. And you can do this with the smoke, and you can bring it up, touch your mouth, because that represents your voice, right? And then some people will do this and bring the smoke down and rub it on their sort of shirt like that, and that represents your spirit, your heart, right? So that's that good heart that you want to speak with, right? And it's a really good way of living your life, right? To speak with a good mind, to speak with a good voice, is just a nice way of living, right? And respecting other people that are around you. So that's what this is. Okay? And I'll talk about the eagle feather a little bit. Okay? They're really, really special in our culture. This represents your whole being. Okay? And I'll explain that after we do this. So what I'll do is I'll get it started, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll come around, okay, and I'll present it to you, and you don't have to touch the feather or the bowl or anything. Just grab the smoke and do what I said. You can put it in your hair like this. You can put it on your shirt. You can put it on your face. You can put it all over. You know, you can do whatever you like, okay? But when you're doing it, try to think of good, positive things, and those negative things you want to go away. That's something you can do too. People do this on a daily basis, okay? Or they'll do it on special times of the day. It's a very personal thing too. Like, I can do this on my own if I'm feeling bad about something or upset, or if I just want to send good prayers to somebody else. I use this because that smoke goes up into the sky, and it's heard by all of the spirits in the sky. It's heard by our ancestors, which are the stars, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. It's heard by the thunderbirds as well. Do you know what a thunderbird is?
No.
In my Ojibwa culture, a thunderbird, whenever you hear lightning, whenever you see lightning, and you hear the thunder, those are thunderbirds that are in the clouds. And the thunderbirds are a good spirit that fly up in the clouds, and they fertilize the land, so they help everything grow, right? So around this time of year when it's storming, that's what we say is the thunderbirds, and it's fertilizing the land and helping everything to grow. So, and they also would hear your thoughts and things like that too. Okay. So anyway, so I'm going to get it started. Oh, sure, yeah, you can put that in there. Huh? Awesome. So we're going to have some cedar tea as well. I'm going to try that. Let's see how you like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some coals, and I'll put them in my shell here like this. Okay? It's going to get real hot on my hand, so I got to hold it by the edges. So I'm going to put a little bit of this medicine in here. Okay? And then when I come around, I'll just stop in front of you, and you can do that thing I told you with the smoke. Okay? All right. And it smells really, really nice. Okay? So I'll start with you, okay? So you can grab the smoke and put it in your hair like that, yeah? in your shirt, in your mouth. You can even do your eyes too, right? But no one likes to put smoke in their eyes. Okay? So it smells nice, right? There you go. Do you like the smell of it?
Yes.
There you go. And what we usually say after somebody gives us the smoke, we say miigwech. In my Ojibwa language, that means thank you. Can you say it? Miigwech.
Miigwech.
You good? Good. Here. Good. Smells really good, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so is that everyone? Yeah? Okay, so normally what we'll do is, after all this, there's still a lot of medicine in there. We usually let it burn on its own, so it's still burning for us while we're talking about all this stuff.
Smells good.
But it smells really nice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are my 4 favorite things in the world. The smell of all those put together is really nice stuff. So that's supposed to be an opening. You usually open a ceremony or you've heard of powwows, right?
Yes.
A powwow is a celebration. I usually open a powwow with a smudge, and we close it with a smudge as well. Okay. Also, you'll do it around when you have a feast. You even smudge the food, so the food is getting that blessing as well, right? So that's that. Okay. So that's part of a ceremony that you've got to experience yourself. So you got to put that smoke on you. You'll probably smell it throughout the day on your clothes. It smells. You'll notice it. Yeah. But it keeps reminding you of what you've just done, right? What you've cleansed your whole body of all that stuff. And said prayers if you wanted to say some prayer to a family member, right? And you can still, even as it's burning, you're still thinking of good things. Do you want to send to people? That's fine too. Now, I use this eagle feather, right? This is a really, really, really important part of our spirituality, is the eagle feather. Now, you see it has 2 sides, right? What the first side is, this is supposed to represent your physical body, like the bodies that we have and we can touch and feel, and the minds that we think with, right? And we have a heart beating inside of us. That's supposed to represent this side is supposed to represent that part of you. And then if you flip it over, this is supposed to represent that spiritual side that you want to have, right? So the spirits around you have the spirit, it's supposed to lead you in a good way, right? So both your physical being and your spiritual being right there. It's also a really high honor to have one of these, okay? Normally it's given to you from, it has to be given to you by somebody. This was given to me by my birth mother, okay? And I've just met my birth mother for the first time after 34, 35 years, okay? I was adopted. So, when I met my birth mother, I got to hang out with her, and I met her, and she gave me this. And she also gave my fiance one as well. So, we'll talk a little bit about spirituality first, okay? So that's a big part of our beliefs. I told you about the thunderbirds. have you ever seen the medicine wheel? It's a round symbol and it has a black, red, white, and yellow on it, and it's usually in the shape of almost like a pie. Okay, so I wish I had one here. And anyways, the medicine wheel represents north, south, east, and west. Okay, in the east we have the yellow section of the medicine wheel. Where does the sun rise?
In the east.
In the east, right? The sun rises in the east. It's yellow. And then we have in the south we have red. Okay. In the west we have black, because that's when the sun sets and it turns to night, right? And in the north we have the white, because of the north is where all the snow is and that kind of thing. But let me explain this to you, if you can wrap your head around that. Each one of those directions represents a part in our lives. Okay? So you have the yellow as the east, where the sun rises. The new day begins is where the young ones, like you are coming from the east. You're in the eastern section of your life, the very first parts of your life when you're just learning about stuff. That's the east. Then you have the red section in the south. That represents when you get a little bit older. Then you have the black section is when you reach not old age, but probably middle age around there. And then the white part represents the old age when you get white hair too, right? And you have all of that knowledge from that whole life that you lived. You have all of the knowledge from all those different directions, and that's when you can teach everybody about everything you know. Okay? So that's what the representation of the medicine wheel, that's what it means. So if you ever see that symbol, you'll know what it means now, right? I'm going to tell you something really neat about myself, okay? I have a spirit name. My name is Paul, right? But I also have a spirit name given to me by an elder, and that's what I'm representing myself as. My spirit name is Nagik. Can you say that?
Nagik.
Nagik. In Ojibwa, the Ojibwa language, that means otter. So I am Otter. That's what my spirit name is. And when I was told about my spirit name, I was told that I am supposed to teach the people coming from the eastern door about my culture. And that's what I'm sharing with you right now, right? Remember I said you're from the eastern door, the eastern part, the yellow part, and I'm teaching you about my culture. I'm doing my job right now as Nagik, as Otter. Okay. So we have some tea, but we're going to save that till the end, I think. Who's got a watch on? Can you tell me what time it is?
1:20.
1:20. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes. Now, so I've told you a little bit about Native spirituality. I've shared with you the creation story and how Turtle Island came to be. I've told you about all the spiritual things that go on in our lives, right? In my life kind of thing. So my name is Otter. You can call me Nagik if you want. Let me see here. I want to talk about some of those issues. Remember we talked about stereotypes and stuff? Let's start off by asking you a question, okay? Now, can you name a professional sports team for me that has anything to do with Native culture? Yes? That's a pirate, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a
Think
pirate.
Cleveland. Cleveland. What's their baseball team? You guys are American, aren't you? The Cleveland Indians. What about Chicago? What's their hockey team?
Chicago.
I'm not big on sports. I don't know.
Chicago Blackhawks. Do you know what their logo is?
Blackhawk.
It's a native guy with feathers in his hair.
Oh, I've seen that.
The Cleveland Indian, right? Big smiling guy with a feather sticking out the top of his head.
I've seen
What about
that.
Atlanta?
Atlanta Red Sox.
Braves.
Baseball team.
Atlanta Braves.
Braves.
Yeah.
They have a chant in Atlanta called used to, right? The Tomahawk Chop. Right? All of these things are very stereotypical views of what a Native person is. a lot of Native people in this country, and I'm sure in America as well, they're a little bit offended by these things because they're misrepresenting our culture. They're taking a part of our culture and making it a brand name, and they're sort of almost abusing that culture, right? So what are some of your thoughts on these things? What do you think? What are some of the views that you have in your country about Native American people? How do you see them, right? And don't worry, it's okay. I'm not going to be offended. It's just, if this is a stereotype, it means something people see or they think about a culture that's not true, right? Yes?
Well, I don't have a thing, but I can relate to it. Like my friend, she's Japanese, and you know how they bow when people say they bow?
Yep.
They don't, and it's really offensive to her.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't care, but she would be when she really cared.
Right.
And we're I'm not gonna say who, but we're in Canada, so these Canadian people were making fun of us. They're basically saying that Americans were dumb. So it's kind of offensive.
See, that's stereotypes, right? It's hurtful for you to hear that, for one. For your friend to hear that about her own culture that she knows about. And she has a lot of respect for her culture, right? Yeah, that's the exact sort of thing we wanted to be talking about here. But this is why I wanted to smudge beforehand, because some of these issues are very sensitive issues to people, right? So we have to approach it in a good way, know that we're not trying to harm each other by talking about it. But you're right, that's some of the problems that people face. Well, my ancestors and my people, we get that very same thing a lot. Yeah, what else?
Well, this is not what I think about them, but like everyone in my class, they were like, Indians and Native Americans are the same thing. They just have different names. They're from different places.
See, there's a big stereotype right there, right? In Canada, we have over 650 different communities of different Native groups. All the different Native groups, we have our own traditions. It's, that's like saying all Asian people are the same. That's not true. It's not true, right? So that's the thing. We've got to, at least you know for a fact now that there's so many different languages in my Ojibwa culture. Do you know what a dialect is of a language?
It's a variation. It's like
It's
a variation
of a language, right? Right. There's over 60 different dialects in the Ojibwa language alone. So that gives you the idea of the size and diversity of our culture. And our culture versus the Iroquois, totally different. So by saying all Native people are all the same, it's wrong, right? No, they're not all the same, because we all have, there's Iroquois, there's Ojibwe, there's Cheyenne, there's Cherokee, right? There's Lakota, you've got Blackfoot, you've got all the ones from the West Coast, like the Haida in Canada. Those are the ones that make those giant totem poles and things like that. Around here, we don't make those. We live very differently over here than they would in the West, right? It's like you're in the South, okay? And then you have someone from, say, Boston. You guys speak very differently, right? Yeah? So there you go. Those are some of those stereotypes. What else? Yeah?
My Nana is an Indian, and so she tells me we have dreams a lot, and so we have dreams about certain spirits that she just calls them that spirit.
Yeah.
So, and at my school they offend me by saying that your dreams don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because my mother is up in heaven, and so we think that she's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, see? So that's beautiful. You see the way you're thinking right there? It's really nice to hear, because that can happen. This is, in my culture, in Ojibwe culture, we focus on our dreams a lot. And we listen to your dreams. Sometimes they won't mean anything. Sometimes they'll be silly, right? But sometimes you'll have a spirit coming through your dreams to speak with you, right? So that's a good thing that we did the smudge. There goes your words, they're going up into the stars. And in Ojibwe culture, it's a little bit different from the Wendat culture, but we believe that when we finish our life here on this earth, we go up to the stars and our souls begin a new life. Our spirits begin a new life up there, right? So it's a little very different from European culture, where everything has a sort of a timeline it goes by, right? You're born, you grow up, you're a teenager, then you're middle-aged, then you get old, and then you die, and it's over. And you go to heaven if you believe in that. Whereas in Native culture, we believe that everything goes in a circle and it doesn't end. It keeps going and going and going. So when we're finished here, we just begin a new life somewhere else, and it keeps circling around like that. That's part of our spirituality, yeah. Good. Yes?
Well, I'm part Cherokee Indian, and a lot of people in my class, they offend me because they say that, like, they don't hang out with me because they think that I'm stupid.